Some Symmetrix equipment has the capability of taking advantage of Dante redundancy, allowing audio to continue flowing through a secondary Dante network if the primary should fail. For Symmetrix systems that don't have this redundancy capability, or for systems that prefer having a failover to analog audio if the Dante source should fail, there is some simple logic programming that can help. Open up the site file and note, this example has a single channel of Dante audio and a single channel of analog audio. The intention is that Dante is the primary audio source and the analog is the failover or secondary source. From the toolkit, drag in a mono input selector from the routers and selectors, mono input selectors folder. Then drag in an audio peak detector from the control modules, control accessories folder. Next, drag in a dual preset trigger, also from the control accessories folder. Last, pull in an inverter from the control processes folder. Wire everything as shown. Open up the mono input selector and name the inputs for analog and Dante. Then open up the audio peak detector and set the threshold to -60 dB, and choose RMS. RMS will average out the input audio and make the detection more consistent than peak. Open up each preset trigger module. In the top one, make sure preset 1 is entered. Set the bottom one, involving the inverter module inline, to preset 2. Now back in the mono input selector module, select input 2 for Dante. Right-click on the slider and select Store Input Selector Setting in Preset, and choose Preset 1. Move the slider back to the analog input, right-click on the slider and store it to preset 2. And that's all the programming needed for this. When audio is flowing from the Dante bus, it is detected by the peak detector. If the input meets or exceeds the threshold, the peak detector outputs 100% control signal, which triggers preset 1, telling the input selector to select the Dante input. When audio is not flowing from the Dante bus, that is also detected by the peak detector. If the input drops below the threshold, the peak detector outputs 0% control signal, which is then inverted to 100% control signal, triggering preset 2, telling the input selector to select the analog input.